This video is intended only to supplement the written installation instructions that accompanied your product, not to replace those installation instructions. The written installation instructions should be read and available to you before you attempt to install the product. If you have any questions about the instructions in this video or are not comfortable performing the installation demonstrated, contact manufacturer's customer service. Before you begin the refrigerator installation, confirm that the appliance will be located in a well-ventilated area with temperatures above 55 degrees Fahrenheit and below 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Allow for at least 1 inch of space behind the refrigerator and at least a ½ inch of space at the top. You will need at least 2 inches of space on the sides to allow both doors to open. The electrical supply for the appliance must be 115 volts at 60 Hz. A dedicated circuit is recommended. A cold water supply with water pressure between 30 and 120 pounds per square inch is required to operate the ice maker and water dispenser. Depending on the width of the doorway, you may need to remove the appliance doors to move the refrigerator into the home. With the power cord unplugged, open both the refrigerator and freezer doors, as well as the water filter cover. Detach the base grill by pulling up on the bottom outside corners. Use a 1/4 inch wrench to unthread the screw securing the water dispenser tubing retainer to the frame, and remove the retainer. Now use needle nose pliers to pull out the tubing coupler retaining clip. Then use an open-ended wrench to depress the locking ring to disconnect the tubing from the coupler. Next, use a 1/4 inch socket or nut driver to unthread the screw securing the wiring clip, and remove the clip. Disconnect the wiring plugs. Close both doors. Use a T30 Torx bit to unthread the front and rear screws securing the top left hinge. Do not unthread the 2 screws on the side of the hinge. Support the door as you set the hinge aside. Now lift the freezer door straight up off the bottom hinge, pulling the water tubing and wiring through the hinge. Have an assistant help with this. Set the door on a blanket or towel. Remove the top right hinge in the same way as the left hinge. Lift the refrigerator door off the bottom hinge and rest the door on a blanket or towel. If necessary, you can also remove the bottom hinges by using a 5/16 inch socket or nut driver to unthread the top and bottom screws, but leave the middle screw intact. When replacing the bottom hinges, confirm that the shim is intact behind the hinge. Then thread and tighten the screws to secure. Reinstall the refrigerator door by aligning it on the bottom right hinge pin. Realign the top hinge. Then thread and tighten the screws to secure the hinge. Have an assistant help you to feed the wiring and the water dispenser tubing through the bottom left hinge as you align the freezer door on the hinge pin. reposition the top left hinge and secure it with the screws. Complete the freezer door installation by fully inserting the water dispenser tubing into the coupler. Insert the retaining clip. Realign the tubing retainer and secure it to the frame with the screw. Now reconnect the wiring plugs. Secure the wiring clip over the grommet with the screw. If the two doors appear uneven, use an adjustable wrench to loosen the locking nut on the bottom right hinge. Then use a 5/16" wrench to rotate the alignment screw counterclockwise to raise the refrigerator door, or clockwise to lower the door. Once the doors have been aligned, tighten the locking nut. With both doors open, reposition the base grill and snap it into place. Close the water filter cover. Install the refrigerator door handle by positioning it on the mounting studs so the set screws face the freezer compartment. Open the freezer door and firmly hold the handle so the base remains flush with the refrigerator door. Now use the provided hex key to rotate the upper set screw clockwise until it begins to contact the mounting stud. Engage the lower set screw in the same fashion. Now fully tighten both set screws. Repeat this procedure to install the freezer door handle. If a water supply line and shutoff valve are not already available in the home, you will need to install them. With the cold water supply shut off, use a 1/4" drill bit to drill an access hole through the front of the nearest cold water supply pipe. File down any rough edges. Now thread the shutoff valve into the front pipe bracket and tighten by hand. Use a wrench to turn the valve an additional 1/8 turn to fully secure. Slide the rubber seal gasket over the shutoff valve's pilot tube. Insert the pilot tube into the hole in the water pipe. Position the rear pipe bracket. Then insert the screws through the brackets and thread on the mounting nuts. Avoid over-tightening the nuts. After ensuring the end of the copper tubing is cut evenly and cleanly, slide on a compression nut and a compression sleeve. Now fully insert the tubing into the outlet connector on the shutoff valve. Thread and hand tighten the compression nut. Use a wrench to tighten the nut one additional turn. Make sure the opposite end of the tubing is cut evenly and cleanly. With the cold water supply turned on, Rotate the T-handle on the shutoff valve counterclockwise to fully open, and flush out the copper tubing. After a few seconds, shut off the valve and clear the tubing of water. Slide a strain relief clamp over the copper tubing. Now slide on the compression nut and the compression sleeve. Unthread the protective cap from the water inlet fitting on the back of the appliance. Now fully insert the tubing into the fitting. Thread and hand tighten the compression nut. Then use a wrench to tighten the nut one additional turn. Open the shutoff valve again and check the connections for leakage. If any leaks appear, you can tighten the compression nut in small increments until the leakage stops. Align the strain relief clamp for the copper tubing and secure it with the appropriate rear access panel screw. The excess copper tubing should be looped, allowing it to easily fold and unfold so the refrigerator can be moved without straining the connections. Warning: excessive weight hazard. Use 2 or more people to move and install refrigerator. Failure to do so can result in back or other injury. With the refrigerator as close to its final location as possible, confirm that the appliance is level from side to side. With the base grill removed, the 2 front rollers can be adjusted to level the refrigerator and to raise the front of the appliance so the doors can close more easily. Use a 3/8" socket or nut driver to rotate one or both roller leveling screws clockwise to raise the refrigerator, or counterclockwise to lower the refrigerator. Confirm that the appliance is level. Warning: electrical shock hazard. Plug into a grounded 3-prong outlet. Do not remove ground prong. Do not use an adapter. Do not use an extension cord. Failure to follow these instructions can result in death, fire, or electrical shock. Plug the refrigerator power cord into the electrical outlet. Carefully push the appliance into its proper location, and the refrigerator should be ready for use.